That's great. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Y'all, this is as good as it gets as far as I'm concerned on YouTube. I'm in the great city of Salt Lake City with a writer whose channel I always get wrong. Right with me, yes, wow. And I came all this way to see this writer, and I couldn't be more excited. We're drinking tea this morning. I got in yesterday. There's been already deep dives into books. Books have been traded, discussions have been had. Toast soup was in the mix. This is the big time. And so we're going to write today. The agenda for the stream here is per usual. We're going to put in some focused work, but I wanted to share with you some of the great inspiration and just this friendship and relationship, because I think it's a special thing, and I want you to know what this writer is all about. And we're gonna have a nice little talk here this morning. So we're gonna talk a little bit. We're gonna talk about the new year, what we're up to as writers, what we're kind of struggling through right now, what we're stoked about, what we're excited about, and right now, yes, wow. Today we'll be reading the poem. So if you know the streams, you know that we write before writing, read a poem out loud, get language in the bones a little bit, connect with our tools at the most precise way. And our guest here today has picked out some really great poems, which they will read. Hey, Takashi, new writer in the mix. That's right. Laura Huntress, welcome. Alyssa, I'm so glad you're here. Who else is here? 51 Tesla, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad all of you are here. So I'm going to pass it to you. And why don't you just tell the people who you are and give us a little taste of your writing life.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous. Um, yeah, I am like a semi-anonymous writer on on YouTube. And my channel is Write With Me. Yes, wow. Um, and similar to Asa, I do these live streams. I also have, videos talking about books and writing process. Long form writer, novels or like book length fiction um, is what I've been doing for a while. And should I read a poem, I guess, to
Well,
kick us off?
let's save that. We'll
Okay,
save
we're
that
gonna
for
wait.
the
Okay,
very end.
cool.
Yeah,
I got nervous. I was like, let me just default to
yeah.
poem.
We'll save those till right before we write.
Um, yeah, yeah. That's
So yeah, last night we were talking about how it just feels for both of us a really kind of fertile time creatively. A little bit of like New Year energy, but just sort of community building. And I mean, I guess how are you? If you could just, if you want, talk a little bit about how you're feeling right now with your project. I'd love to hear about that.
yeah. So I've been working on a book called Lightspeed for 18 months, and it's, I guess, an iteration of uh, really 4 or 5 years of trying to get a solid book length work out in the world. Um, and I'm maybe today, maybe tomorrow, going to start the draft process of my second draft. Finished the first draft over a year ago. I've been researching, retooling for a long time now, but I'm at the starting point again. Uh, Feeling a little trepidatious, you have like a vision of um, how you expect and want things to go, and they never go that way. So, the moment you start drafting is the moment you say goodbye to all these hopes and dreams, and your decisions narrow. But yeah, I feel I feel excited about the project, but maybe a little like weary of actually uh, starting. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I know some of y'all in the chat are also embarking on new stuff. If anybody wants to share that, let us know. I realized that this is also broadcasting right now on Right With Me's channel. I'm Asa, a pal, a pal. Hi, hi over there. Yeah, and we connected on YouTube, found each other's videos, and one Zoom led to another, and then a plane ticket, and here we are with this incredible tea set, which I'm so excited to partake in. Um, so yeah, let's. I guess I would love to kind of get a little more concrete, briefly. We are here to write, so we're getting to that moment soon. But I'm curious, both what you plan on working on the next 90 minutes, and actually more broadly, kind of when you sit down, do you kind of okay, this is what I want to get done.
Yeah. So the next 90 minutes, I actually don't have a great plan. I'm gonna journal. I have one book of research that I really need to like put the research away. But if it feels more like uh, I don't know, it's a feel based thing. Definitely journal to get things going. And then there's one um, like entry point for the book that I've already um, written into a little bit, uh, and so I thought I could join there again. I also have like my computer here, and Scrivener is like a million entry points. So it depends on how things feel. If I'm gonna jump in, I guess it's like a kind of like big day because it would be like the first day of really drafting on the book. So I just want to make sure I'm like ready to in game for that. And we'll see. But that's my general plan. Journal, see how things feel, and then either like and then like touch some different entry points that I have for the book. And that's what I'll do. And then normally I'm a little bit more planned out. I have a little bit more structure. Like, okay, here's where I'm going. Or like lately it's been this like um, you know, idea generating research where I have a lot of stuff, material that I've written out long form by hand, and I'm putting that into my like novel document and Scrivener. But then I can like play with it, see how the material looks against other material, and it's a pretty generative time. So that's what I've been doing. And it's very clear like, oh, I've got these like 50 pages of handwritten notes I need to get in. I'm going to spend 3 hours, do that. And then, if I get taken off, on some idea, all the better. Um, and then now as I go into um, actually drafting, we'll see. It's a whole different world. It's a whole different world. So that's the plan. How about you?
Amazing. Yeah. Thank you for sharing all that. Girl in Dungarees, I've seen you at book club.
Oh,
Hey,
yay.
glad you're here. Thanks for coming by. Um, yeah, my plan. So I'm working on a book right now. It's sort of this montage type story about these brothers and their dad. It's very much in the woods. And today, probably, I'm going to work on chapter 3 of this book, which I think is the segment of this book that I'm going to workshop. I'm doing the Tin House writing workshop that's about to start, and I have a few days left to really home that in as much as possible. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. Quick shout out to Scrivener because not everyone knows about it. Scrivener is great. Scrivener is a writing software. So just in case you hadn't heard of that, shout out Scrivener. And now comes the very special moment where I take my first sip of tea, but more importantly, we hear a couple poems. So Zach has chosen some poems. Right with me has picked some poems out and is going to read them for us.
Okay, yeah, not to preamble too much, but this is a book called Erratic Fire, Erratic Passion, published by this press. I liked for a while. It's called Featherproof, uh, and I like the press because it's was started by a musician. Um, who has, just wanted an outlet for his books. And then, he published all these amazing people. So Pashamala, Jeff Parker are the authors, and they're taking um, uh, interviews of uh, sports people. I think I picked out something from a snowboarder and a football player, and then they're editing their words to make them this, this interesting, like repetitive, poetic sort of thing. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. This is called Cement Doesn't Give as Much as Snow by Sean White. It's pretty intense. When you think about it, we're strapping strange planks of wood to our feet and launching off of giant snow walls. When you think about it, I wear black skinny fit jeans and launch off of giant snow walls. I can't get away from them. I wear black skinny fit jeans. I trip walking down the stairs. I can't get away from them, but I can skate them probably. I trip walking down the stairs. It's pretty intense, but I can skate them probably. We're strapping strange planks of wood to our feet. Okay, that's the first one. That's the first one. And I think I may have lost the. No, here we go. This is Darkness to Light and My Eternity Was Sealed by Tim Tebow. Growing up, actually, my parents didn't let us have desserts a lot. But every Sunday when we got home from church, we were able to eat as much ice cream as we wanted. So we'd go on the couch and watch football and eat ice cream together, and we'd eat a lot. And I still love eating ice cream, although I try not to have it as much now, but I still love it. That's it. That's it. Very, very, very profound stuff.
Thanks for those picks. And thanks for that read. Yeah, those are great. Gosh. So those were like okay, like excerpts from interviews?
Yeah. Kind of like found poems or yeah, excerpts from interviews that were edited and morphed into, that kind of repetitive poetic thing. I like, stealing material and nonfiction making to fiction, and Benjamin Lavatude and all these people that we've read. It's just, I got this book a long time ago, and maybe it was an early seed to like, material alteration and stuff. But that's something I really like to do. So, yeah.
Cool. All right, y'all. Here we are. Okay, so I'm gonna put the clock on for 90 minutes. I'm gonna start similarly, kind of analog today. Maybe do some morning pages. I got this book that my 5-year-old picked out at random. This is The Impusium by Nobel Prize winner Olga Tokarzuk. It's pretty fun. A health resort horror story. Might read that, and then might work on that story I mentioned. So thanks y'all for being here. Let's get down to it. How's everybody doing? I'm so stoked. So stoked to talk about that. Kashiki is here or was here. Hi, guy. Good night. If we're still here, good night soon. Pia's Rohi is here, locked in. True story. Alyssa, BRB. Hi, everyone. Um, I want to get in here to how that went and just kind of like share out loud some of our processes. I think that could be really valuable. Takashi says, I made a little discovery I want to share. Perception of reality defines reality. I'm using this to define how my character perceive themselves in the world. Lore Huntress, Takashi, or as Monica Bellucci says in Twin Peaks, we are like the dreamer who dreams and then lives inside the dream, but who's the dreamer? LOL, any excuse to mention Twin Peaks. Thanks, y'all. Yeah. So okay. So I'll just lead us off here, Zach, and tell you how that went for me, and then I have a question for you and I want to hear how that went for you, and then I have a question for you. Um, yeah. So y'all. So yeah, that was great. I mean, I started out like normally do with these morning pages, and for me today, that was just kind of observing. The gift of a focused space, a quiet home, of being in community with somebody I admire so much, and just I don't know, I just was appreciating that, and then I kind of got into it, and yeah, just to get in the weeds a little bit, I'm working on this chapter 4 of this story, and I think like when I drafted it earlier, um, I did this thing where I was like halfway through the story and didn't know what came next, so I just one of the characters started having a heart attack.
Nice.
and and so I was like reading through that, and I was just like, I don't know, is this does this work, or is this like a cheap shot, or is this a cheap shot that worked? I think it works. So that was my experience of that. And then after that, yeah, I went back to this chapter 3, which is the one I think I'm going to workshop, and that was cool because it was just like a finer comb. And I haven't looked at that story in a little while, so it was cool to kind of get in there and make these like micro changes. So anyway, that's what my kind of hour and a half is, and I do have a question for you, but first I'd love to hear how that went for you.
Yeah, it was good. I was very like felt uncomfortable and nervous when we first started. I was like, oh, I'm usually very private and like alone and sequestered, and I was like, oh my God, I'm revealing. It just felt revealing, and then it felt so good to write. I was like, also journal to start, and just felt like so uh, I put my hoodie on. I was just so safe is kind of corny, but it was like, oh, this is the good stuff. And like I journaled just like emotively, through feeling, uh, and then it, and then I realized that carried my hand across the page into this like pen touching paper form of writing, which I normally don't do. Normally, I use journaling time to like think uh, in kind of free ways, but um, I realized that I was just kind of like associative in writing, and I just kept it going, and it was like this self hypnosis thing. So then I felt really comfortable, and I felt like, oh, there's like another nervous system here, and we're like, um, there was like a force being built, and then I was like, well, you know, I'm ready to write. I'm ready to draft. I'm ready to start drafting Lightspeed, which is so cool. I mean, like, I had an entry point, um, and I'm a little bit less sharing, I would say, than you. But I had an entry point that I like had thought about for a while, and in one of my research days, just like, it just like came out. I couldn't not write it down. I went back to it, and I don't know if it doesn't matter what it is or where it ends up or if it ends up in the piece, but I think it's a way in to the book, and yeah, it's just the origin, and I was able to. I found it again in my journal and retyped it into Scrivener, and it was like this epic moment of like, oh, I'm like writing the first like actual, chapter or whatever, the first bit that's for the book, or of the book. And then I realized it just didn't feel as good to be typing, so I just like went back to physical paper and then just kept at that origin point. So yeah, that's I don't know. That's that's how it went.
Amazing. I mean, congrats. I mean, like the race has the belt, the gun is shot. We're on the
Yeah,
race. That's awesome.
so good,
Congratulations.
so good.
Okay, so Lightspeed. That's the name of the book.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what I want to ask you about, and I'm actually curious if anyone in the chat has thoughts about this too. I don't have a name for this book yet, and I'm wondering for you, when you knew it was called Lightspeed, to what extent that's in cement in terms of the title, and then like how does knowing that title guide you? Yeah, I'm just curious about titles because they're so powerful, and kind of once you have it in your mind, it really is this like gesture that can inform everything. So I'm curious. I mean, for me at least. So like, I'm curious what titles mean to you, and how you got to Lightspeed, and what that title is doing for you now.
Yeah. Titles equally important. Equally important. I love like there's some books that I've just been at like a book sale or don't have any association with the author, but I'm like, wow, that is titled so well. I'm gonna get the book, and it like doesn't even matter if the book is good or not. I'm like, I still can like honor like, man, that was a great title. Um, so Lightspeed is in cement as the title, and uh, when I was drafting the first attempt or the first iteration, it came maybe I didn't have any title for it. I was just collecting, like I told you earlier, I was collecting sentences, which turned into me changing things, which turned into me like finding narrative, finding characters, and then it became uh, one kind of uh, burst of motion is what it felt like. And then um, I really liked this title called Speedboat by Renata Adler. And there's something in that was just like Speedboat is just unrelated seemingly to what that book is about, but it um, was more a reflection of the form, and that like you're just Speedboat is this kind of like it's this fast moving entity, but it's also this like kind of commercialized and like frivolous thing that we have anyway. So I was like, oh man, some of the themes are this like beyond cosmic perspective, speed, you know elementary forces, which is very abstract and vague sounding, but I landed on Lightspeed, and then it really started to there was this like dual informing process. The writing was informing the title was informing the writing. That first iteration had no chapters. It was just one like short book, but just a complete push, and the idea was that like I would want to read it all in one sitting, just sit for 4 or 5 hours and just so yeah, it's stuck to the project. The only thing that I am thinking through is Lightspeed as one word is more like primarily been used in like science fiction literature. Um, Technically, it's 2 words. Lightspeed is a phrase. I've always had it as one word, but I kind of light and speed as separate seems good too. So that's the only question I have is it going to be that like more science fiction single word, or light space speed? But yeah, I would say I didn't. It's at a certain point like I knew a title was forming, something had to happen, and I kind of had to reach out and grab it and find it. But once I did, um, it was yeah, it's like I love how it sounds, and I love what it suggests. Um, and I think it's a good title, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a really exciting title. PLSTQ says love the matching sweaters.
Oh yeah, we planned.
Planned, all planned for sure. Planned. That was the first thing we discussed. It was like, are we right? Well, let's talk about the wardrobe choices. Um, y'all, this is really exciting. You know what you were saying. We talked a little bit about that movie Weapons.
Yes. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So that director, like his first movie is called Barbarian,
Yeah.
and it's similarly like you watch the movie and it's like that not isn't necessarily you wouldn't really find that title in the movie.
Hmm.
So that made me think of that when you
Yeah.
said speedboat. It's cool, just like thinking about how far an evocation can can be really far and still kind of work.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking about. I didn't warn you on this. So we always round out the streams by reading the poems a second time,
Oh,
just to kind of
cool.
like
Cool.
let them cinch in a little bit.
Wait,
Um,
can I ask you one
yeah,
question?
yeah.
Before. Okay, I don't want to get too specific, but when you were talking about what you were working on today, um, the heart attack is the new chapter, and then you edited chapter 3, right? Or is the heart attack in chapter 3?
It's the heart attack is in chapter 4.
Chapter 4. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. So that's where like uh, you're still toying with some new creative space, but you're really like sharp editing chapter 3. Is that right? Okay,
Correct.
cool. I had an idea while you were not for your work, but you just mentioned like, is a heart attack a cheap shot? And then I thought like it'd be cool to, who knows who will do this? Maybe somebody will do this, but like to write a collection called Cheap Shots, and it's like really well built stories that eventually just end in like people's brains being exploded, like just like terrible or like, and that's the aim of all of these stories, to like build you up um, in this very like fine literary way, and then just take a total cheap shot, undermine the whole thing. Anyway, that's not what I think the heart attack is doing, but cheap shots would be a funny. I'm not asking any questions. I'm sorry. I'm just speaking.
Oh, I love that idea. I hope someone writes that. Girl in Dungaree says encore. Let's go. Yes. Wait, I had a thought there when you were talking. Right. This was okay. That made me think of something that you talked about in one of your videos. So if you're just picking up on the theme, I'm here with a friend, fellow writer, who also has a YouTube channel called Write With Me Now. Yes, wow. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Write With Me. Yes, wow. That's it. Definitely check out that channel. And on one of your videos, you described that recently you've been doing this exercise where you try to identify something that's really hard to describe and then just see how well you could do that. I was thinking like a heart attack. I mean, that probably just requires research and you can sort of see what a lived experience is. But when you said that, I thought of that as like as a cool exercise that we can all try at some point. Yeah. So you down to read these poems again?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's do it. I think I saved them too.
Context here again, if you're just hopping on, is that I start these streams by reading a poem. The idea there is to get language in the air, get language in the bones, get in touch with the core tools. And Right With Me, yes, wow, here across the table today chose these couple poems for us.
Okay, here's the Tintivo one. There we go. Ready? people have to, have to wait for something good. There we go. Okay, Cement Doesn't Give as Much as Snow by Shaun White. It's pretty intense. When you think about it, we're strapping strange planks of wood to our feet and launching off of giant snow walls. When you think about it, I wear black skinny fit jeans and launch off of giant snow walls. I can't get away from them. I wear black skinny fit jeans. I trip walking down the stairs. I can't get away from them, but I can skate them probably. I trip walking down the stairs. It's pretty intense, but I can skate them probably. We're strapping strange planks of wood to our feet. And this is Darkness to Light and My Eternity Was Sealed by Tim Tebow. Growing up, actually, my parents didn't let us have desserts a lot. But every Sunday, when we got home from church, we were able to eat as much ice cream as we wanted. So we'd go on the couch and watch football and eat ice cream together, and we'd eat a lot. And I still love eating ice cream, although I try not to have it as much now, but I still love it.
I love those. Can I see this real fast?
Yeah.
All right, y'all. That came from Erratic Fire, Erratic Passion, The Poetry of Sports Talk by Pasha Mahler and Jeff Parker. Shaun White, if you don't know, snowboarder, and Tim Tebow, an openly Christian quarterback, former quarterback. So that's where those came from. A very cool collection. Y'all, maybe we'll stream again. Maybe we won't. Either way, check out the channels. Check out Right With Me. Yes, wow. Yes, got it. Right With Me. Yes, wow. There's a dungeon. Oh yeah, and if you're watching over on Zach's, mine is Asa Merritt Writes, but that's just my name, Asa, A-S-A, Merritt, M-E-R-R-I-T-T, Writes. Check it out. Yeah, I am going to be posting some shorts. I haven't made a lot of YouTube shorts, but to kind of document and share what I'm learning from this writing workshop, I'm going to be throwing those out with little kind of nuggets of insights that I'm learning. So check those out. Talk to you also. Okay, yeah, right. PLSTQ coming from his channel. Welcome. Glad you're here. Thanks for checking it out. All right, y'all. See you later. Thanks.